Hey everybody, welcome to today's live stream. We're going to be turning up a pen made with those epoxy flooring chips today, so it should be pretty fun. So let's switch views real quick and I'll show you what we're doing. We got the results and we got some pretty cool looking blanks. Now I want to mention one thing right off the bat. You can see there's a pretty big clear area. So if you remember, or if you didn't see or don't remember, these ones we did kind of first, and I really loaded up the amount of chips that were in the blanks, and these things came out fine. They were totally packed. I was a little bit worried about, maybe there might have been too many chips in there, and I think that we were fine. I don't think that was a problem. So the blue ones turned out great. The camo ones look good, but like I said, there's a little bit. I think we may be able to squeeze a pen out, but there may be a little clear area on one side. So, but either way, it should be pretty cool. So what I did was I got two Sierras set up. So I got this one, the camo, and also already on the lathe, we have the blue one. It's kind of blown out a little bit. It's so hard. I don't know why this camera is so hot. Let me turn this light down. Maybe that'll kind of help a little bit. You can kind of see what's going on, but it's already set up on the lathe and we are ready to turn pretty much. So I hope everybody's doing good today. Hope everybody's excited to see how these turn out. I know I am. A couple other notes about these blanks and what I've done. So we cast them in the single slot molds. All right, and what I did was I cut them down to size. These were 7/8 and then I cut them. So what I did find is they're a little bit abrasive on the table saw. It kind of dulled the blade a little bit, and not too long before, it's getting kind of hard to push them through the blade. So these vinyl chips, or I don't exactly know what material they are. I think they might be vinyl. A little bit abrasive on saw blades. So, going forward, I don't think, like my game plan for these things would be to really load these up and I'm not cutting them up, kind of thing. Like I don't want to, my biggest problem is there's a lot of times where, certain types of blanks, stabilized woods sometimes can be this way. Even pine cones can sometimes be a little bit more abrasive on your blades. And the problem is if you're doing a lot of them, and the way that I usually do blanks, I'll cut a brick, and what ends up happening is I got to make 4 cuts per, there's 6 blanks coming out of these things. Problem is some things that are super abrasive, actually another one that I just thought of is glow powder blanks. Those things are horrible. They're super abrasive. Seashells are ridiculous. They're on the super upper end. But I'm just not willing to process blanks where I'm going to have to go through 3 blades to get through, a couple batches of blanks. So I would probably do it where, these go for the single slot type thing, and then really try to load them up and just pop them out and be done, and then send them off to people without processing. Now, cross-cutting isn't going to go through too much. It's that rip action where you're cutting for quite a while. That's what dulls your blade a little bit more. I don't anticipate these to be super abrasive on the lathe. I think, especially if you're using a carbide cutter, I don't think it's like you're going to go through cutters or anything like that. It might be a little bit rougher on high-speed steel tools. You may be sharpening a little bit more. I don't think they're super abrasive, but they definitely, are a little bit more than just resin. And then drilling went fine too. It's not like the drill bit was struggling or anything. So just wanted to mention that. A lot of times the table saw, the problem with that is, the blades on that are cut to a really fine point, and it doesn't take much to dull that tip. And once all those tips on your blade are dulled, it makes it harder to push through the blade because that one part is dull. But I mean, I'm using a carbide saw blade, but it just doesn't take as much. Plus I process a lot of blanks anyway. So I just wanted to kind of mention a couple of those little notes real quick for everybody so that you kind of know, if you decide to do these things, kind of know what to expect. But it wasn't ridiculous. It was just a little bit more abrasive than normal. So, ooh, coral, yeah, that'll be abrasive. So, anyway, so who was here first? I think it was Mike McEwen, and then Paul was right behind him, and Gene and Kim, nice. Gene was asking how to get the chat out. I don't know if you figured it out. I'm not. It's weird how they like place things. I can't tell you. I'm on a desktop, so small icon. Yeah, it's like one of the icons down there. I hate that. Happens to me all the time too. All right, so let's see here. Who else is here? Ann's here. Brian's here. Nice. All right, so if everybody's ready for a little bit of turning, let's go hit the lathe up. And like I said, we'll start with the blue one, obviously. It's set up over there. These are Sierra size blanks, Sierra style, for like a Sierra, like Sierras and I don't know, a handful of other, like the Wall Street and I can't think of all the other ones, but there's a ton that are the same, you know, diameter, the same tube and everything like that, and the components fit the same for the bushings. So those are just usually the easiest. If we're just kind of testing things out, I like going with those because they're pretty cheap pen kits, and you know, it's a single blank, so I can kind of, you know, have backups if I wanted to. So we're gonna make a Sierra, a couple of them. I want to see how this camo looks. Now, one thing. Oh, I already tossed. Where did I put those? One other thing with the results. I don't even know what I did with them. I was unhappy with the, the small particle camo. I mean, they look fine, I guess, but they don't look like camo, like camouflage. Here they are. To me, really. I think that the larger chips are a little bit better. So let's do an overhead again. So you can see, you know, these things look, that's pretty, you know, that's not a bad rendition of camouflage. I think that could pass. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life, but these, I mean, you know, not really. You know, it just kind of looks like sand. They're kind of cool looking, but if you're going for camo, I don't really know that this is what you would want. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm kind of curious. I wasn't super thrilled with it. I didn't find that to be particularly awesome. They're not bad looking in general, but they're just not like camouflage to me. So I'm gonna just kind of toss those on the side. All right, so let's go hit the lathe up and start turning some stuff. Canon, there we go. We're on the Canon cam. And the remainders of these guys are gonna be going in the mystery boxes. Yes, they are available. If you didn't hear already, mystery boxes are up on my website, and I finally put them with like the menu. So the mystery boxes are a subscription turning blank, or a turning blank subscription, where you get 3 pen blanks and a handle size blank every month, and you get to turn them up. And they are exclusive blanks only. They're the ones from the stream, and I'm going to put some other ones in that I just come up with that nobody else can get. So it should be pretty fun. So if you want to grab yours, there's only 10 available. Half of them are already gone. So head over to my website and pick one up. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit over here. Okay. We are ready to rock and roll. I'm going to turn the dust collector on. So I've got my turning between center setup. You got a dead center on the headstock side. You got a live center on the other side. This drives it. This just spins and holds it. Very accurate setup. I really like the turning between center setup over the. Sorry, just getting my dust collector kind of situated. I like this setup better than mandrels myself. It just, everything holds true. You don't have to worry about bent rods and all that kind of stuff, but you can only turn one at a time. So that is the downfall to it, the drawback, but totally worth it in my opinion. Oh, and I need my phone so I can see the comments. I always forget this. Let me get YouTube open. Where are we at here? Go to my channel. There I am. Okay. And I got a little magnetic doohickey so I can kind of keep you guys right in front of my face. All right, so let's start this guy up. Am I going the right way? Yep. Spin it up, and I always go, I max out the speed on my lathe. So these things are turning it's turning fine, you know, great. So far. Little chips are kind of crazy, but let's get this thing in here, get it above the thing and get a zoom in. It's looking pretty good so far. Picking it up, and I'm really not seeing any I don't know, it'd be maybe kind of hard to see, but I don't really see any like air pockets or any pinholes. They're not visible to me. Maybe one right there, but we're still really not into the blank totally yet either. So everything's going good so far on these little paint chips. I am totally gonna go find the did you eat paint chips as a kid meme when I make the combined video for this. I don't really do that, so I'm a little worried that I'm gonna get somehow demonetized. Because I mean, technically you're really not supposed to be using those things, but since everybody does it and doesn't seem to get penalized, I just think that is the absolute perfect meme for this. Yeah, it kind of does look like Fordite a little bit. Another thing that it reminds me of, because they're kind of like flat chips, really reminds me of how the money blanks, the shredded money blanks look. The way that, you know, you kind of get like flat parts on like one side, because they've all kind of laid, you know, on top of each other like this. And then on the sides, you kind of get this, like the side view of that stacking. It's kind of an interesting thing. Looking good so far. Like I said, turns fine. Alright, so now it's totally trued up. We're down into the blank a bit more now. Let's zoom in. I don't know if I need to get right in front of it. Oh, look at that. I mean, it's pretty cool looking. You know, and the cool thing about this is there's quite a few different varieties of different chip color combinations. And that's like just, you know, in the package. And then I've even found a couple online sites where you can literally put together combinations, custom combinations of colors if you wanted. I don't know that they have like every single color you could possibly think of, but you know, there are quite a few. Quite a few. So, kind of a cool thing. And I mean, you know, you don't even just have to do pen blanks either, of course. You can do anything. Let me wipe off my glasses. I can't see anything. There we go. Once the dust is gone. going to get you guys a different view. That'll also help for the video too. Hopefully I can do this anyway. Okay, now don't watch the screen. I'm getting kind of nuts. Do I have enough cord? Problem is I have to watch my cord lengths. Ooh. Can't see the screen. Problem is I just can't get low enough. Maybe I can. No. I think I'm going to need to do these angle shots with my phone. That's pretty close. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Let's see if that'll work. That's looking pretty good. Oh yeah. This guy's got a little bit of a bump on this side, so we'll take a little bit more off on this side, right in this area. That's looking pretty cool. It's not even, we haven't even started sanding or anything like that yet. All right, so let's go back to the other view. Let's go for a little bit of a side view, huh? What do you think about that? All right, so let me just, I want to kind of clean up. There's a little bit of a, it's kind of thick. Right there. Okay, I'm calling that good. Let's start sanding this guy. So I'm going to start at 240. There we go, 240. Oh, that's 400. Let me get a new piece. Let's do it right, huh? Where the heck did my 240 go? Cutting myself a new piece here. Slow the lathe down to around 500 or so. There we go, 240. We're gonna start there. I'm gonna stop and see. Yeah, I had it fairly smooth, so we don't have a lot of tool marks. That's good. Yeah, I like the random patterns too, Mark. Ah, you just got the mystery box. Sweet. That's awesome, Carl. Yeah, and I got them ready for this first month. So when you order, it's going to go out. And then I'm just saving blanks up for next month. So it'll be kind of, it is a mystery. You're not necessarily guaranteed a blank from every single stream, but like every blank from every stream type thing. Like in this case, we had a couple camo ones, obviously with only 3 blanks available. Some people get like a blue one and some will get a camo. I might actually make some more though. Because those camo ones, we'll have to see how that looks at the end. That's why I wanted to turn one of those as well. If it's really not very awesome, then I'm not sending those out in the boxes. I may make some more. If it looks good on the one side, but that clear part just makes it kind of look stupid, then I'll make another batch on my own and load it up this time. All right, so I think that ought to be good. Let me see. Yeah, that's looking nice. Okay. And I'm thinking that we can just polish these up. I don't really think I don't see any reason to to put a finish on this stuff. All right, so we will move to the 400 grit. Oh wait, but first, I'm gonna wipe it off with some denatured alcohol real quick. And that just gets any sandpaper grits off. This isn't like really doing anything to it. Oh, look at that, it kind of turned blue. Okay, and then 400 grit. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice. Do a little 400. I don't think the color's bleeding. I'm not seeing any color bleed in there. We'll wait and we'll give it a closer inspection once I get done with the 400 here. I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know what was going on with that. It looked like it was a little bit blue. It might have just been kind of the blue sanding dust. I don't know if I'm actually pulling like dye out of the chips themselves. Could have just been a little alcohol mixed with some blue dust. Okay, I think that's good with the 400 grit. One of the nice things, there's a little cheat, guys. If there are a few minor little scratches that you missed in a blank like this, you're not gonna see it, I don't think, because there's so many other little scratch marks and things going on. You can kind of fudge it a little bit. I think it's fine. I think I did a good job, but I don't know. It is seeming like it's pulling a little bit of color out, but it might, like I said, it may just be dust. So let's stop it and let's see if we got any bleed going on here. And I'll get you guys in nice and close so you can kind of inspect it as well. Come on, there we go. I mean, I'm not seeing any. The whites are pretty vibrant in there. So I don't think we have anything to worry about. That's pretty sweet looking though. Wow. Crazy colors. Digging it. Okay, so we're gonna move up to the wet sanding steps. First I'm gonna create a mess behind the lathe there. Get my ShamWow down. And this is the Zona paper, so this is the first grit, which is somewhere around like 750 or so, I want to say. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah, I hope you do try this. This is pretty cool. And like I said, you know, I have a link to, you know, so you can check out the epoxy chips on Amazon if you want to grab them, if you just want to order them online. But you can also, I mean, they have bags of these things at your like local, like Home Depot, Lowe's type stores a lot of times. So you can find them there. Maybe a little bit more limited on the colors possibly, but I think this blue one, this combination, I've seen it like a lot of places. So I think that this one, if you wanted to copy this, is probably a good bet that you might find this locally. But like I said, you can pretty much get any color online. And there's even websites, if you start digging. I just went to Amazon and found this stuff, but if you start digging, you can also find, you know, different like specific websites that sell this stuff. And some of the companies, like, I mean, they literally, you can order like custom color combinations and stuff. It's almost overwhelming because, like, how are you gonna pick? Like, there's so many colors out there, you know. Trying to come up with how many different colors and which colors are you gonna put together, all these things. It's kind of tough, but. Okay, I think that's probably pretty good with the first step there. Wipe that off. And then we'll move up to the gray one is the second one. Second grit in the Zona papers. And you can get these Zona papers. I gotta get a link to these in the show notes. You can get these at Turner's Warehouse. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you can just use Zona paper and go all the way up through the grits and it'll be, you know, polished. I know Chad does that a lot for certain things. I've been getting really good results with that Magic Juice polish. So that's my go-to on pens at this point. But you know, buffing wheels, either way, and this is like the same thing as micro mesh basically. So you can either just keep going with micro mesh, wet sanding all the way up, buffing, or like, you know, like the plastic polishes like Magic Juice. And they have Magic Juice at Turner's Warehouse as well. I think you can even get buffing wheels there, but I also have links to like the buffing wheels and a lot of other things like this, the between centers things and a bunch of random stuff that I use all the time. I have links on my tools I use page on my website, which is also linked in the description. All right, so And this gray one is, I want to say it's around somewhere between 1,000 to 1,200 grit. Okay, I think that's probably pretty good. We'll move over to the magic juice. The juice is loose. Put this stuff out of the way. I can turn my, I could have turned the dust collector off a while ago. One big advantage to wet sanding is you don't have to worry about dust. That is one nice thing. Okay, so let's stop this. Ooh, it's looking pretty good so far. Look at that. What? These things do look pretty good. I mean, that's just wild, you know? Like, that would be very difficult to get something very similar to this with just, like, dyes. Because they're so, you know, straight lines. Like, resin swirls are a lot more swirly, you know? Hard to get those kind of straight patterns. Okay, so we're looking good. I'm going to kind of zoom you guys out a little bit. Back you off. I don't know that it's super important to see the polish. Hold on real quick. I gotta move this. I gotta get this garbage can somewhere where it's actually useful. There we go. And not just in my way. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of back you out for just a little bit. So you can kind of see the process maybe. It's gonna be kind of hard for me to tell if I'm I don't have a cameraman. Let's put it like there. Okay, so Magic Juice is made by Stadium Pen Blanks. And I like this thing. I was very skeptical when I first tried it, but it works pretty good. So it's a 6-step polish process. And you know, you could go different ways. Like, this stuff is made to kind of, you know, go 1 through 6. You could even try, this stuff is not really any different than, like, you know, there's a lot of different plastic polishes out there. I mean, this is unique in its steps and the specific, you know, ones that are included in here. But if you wanted to, you could also wet sand up, you know, to a little bit higher and then use like a plastic polish, you know, just a super high gloss polish type thing as like your last step. There's 1,000 different ways to polish pens. And I mean, I used to use buffing wheels you know, that was all I used. But once I found this, the thing I like about this, it does make it a little glossier, I find. But again, you could go to the buffing wheels and then finish up with a plastic polish. But the problem I have is, for me to buff this, I got to take this off, go over to the buffing wheels, and in some cases, if your buffing wheel setup is on your lathe, then you got to take this, dismantle the whole lathe, set up a buffing wheel, you know, and then just to buff it. Whereas this, I don't have to touch the blank, you know, and that's one of the things that I like. And I was getting a little bit better results. So it's pretty cool. Pretty good stuff. So I'm spinning it up at about somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000. And I'm just going to rub this on until you'll feel kind of a drag, and then eventually it'll not be kind of, you won't feel that friction, and then I just kind of wipe it off with a clean part of my paper towel. And that's it. So that's one step. And the other thing was, originally I'm like, 6 steps, oh my god. You know, how long is this going to take? But, you know, it takes like 10 to 15 seconds per, you know, whatever thing. Oh, that is a pretty good angle, I think. Yeah, yeah, it does look like a magnetic field pattern. That's interesting. And I just give it, you know, moderate pressure. I don't need to get nuts with it. Okay, step 2, done. And I just rip my little paper towels into these kind of small squares. And I'm adding, I don't know how much. I just kind of estimate it, but I don't know if they call that like a dime size amount or, you know, whatever, but it's just a little blob. And then I turn the lathe off to apply it so it doesn't just whip it all over the place into my face. Don't ask me how I learned that lesson. I've got a couple t-shirts that look like I was trying to polish myself. Okay. Step 3. Step 4. Get down. Okay. Step 5. The weather's been kind of warming up a little bit around here. We've been getting some pretty awesome hikes outdoors. Morning like walks around the neighborhood have been just amazing. So that's good. I'm still disappointed in how little snow and moisture we got this winter. We're gonna have a terrible fire season, I think. But spring is gonna be nice. Might have to leave town when summer comes. Last year it was so bad. You couldn't even walk outside without a mask on. Hopefully the fires will stay away from us this year. That would be nice. And final step. All right, so I'll get you guys in for the unveiling of this thing. There you guys are. Yep, I thought I missed the mark there. There we go. Oh. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. I have to say, I'm very happy with this thing. You can almost kind of feel the texture a little bit too. I think there's like a difference in the you know, hardness or density or, you know, something between the Alumilite and that stuff. Let's zoom out here. So you can kind of feel a little bit of a texture. If you did not like that, then I would recommend putting a CA finish over it, and then you'll get everything nice and smooth. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of texture. You can kind of feel it. It's just not, you know, dead smooth like you would feel on a full resin blank. But I'm very happy with this thing. Very happy. Let's see here. Let's try and get the camera in a little bit. Sort of. Hold on a minute. There we go. What is going on here? Hold on. I got everything twisted and backwards with my cords here. You know what I'm waiting for is a wireless streaming setup for your cameras. That would be, oh man, wireless everything. That would be sweet. Okay, so now that we have the camera set up, I think we can, oh, it's kind of wobbling. Get my hands out of the way. Yeah, that's gonna look good on a pen, I think. I think you could easily get away with, if you wanted to make a pen for, police, I think this would be a great, kind of that thin blue line type, whatever, back the blue type of thing. Not a bad way to go for that. But yeah, definitely impressed with that. They look good. All right, so let's switch gears and go with the camo and see how that thing turns out. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. It's so close. It's almost, I don't know if you can see how close it is to being full, with the chip things, but just a little low. Now the nice thing is at least there's just clear, so we should be able to see through that. I just don't know how it's really going to look. So, and you can see the tube on this side, but it's so thin. I was trying to see. Now it'll be interesting to see. I painted the tube black, by the way. I forgot to mention that. The tube in this one is black. Now I don't know. I don't think it's tough. I don't know if I would have been able to see that, but you definitely don't know. I can't see it in this right here. But it'll be kind of curious. I'm curious to see if we can see the brass tube, and I specifically chose this one because I'm just unsure if this is going to look good in the end anyway. But I chose this one to test the tube. Are we going to be able to see that in the final pen once we get it turned down? So it'll be kind of an interesting. We got a couple interesting tests here to see what's going on with these blanks. Yeah, I kind of like the texture myself, but I try to refrain from being like, yeah, that's great, because I also kind of like seeing the threads in stoppers and things. And man, some people hate that and think it's so unprofessional. And that's fine. I don't care. But I try not to assume that everybody's like, yeah, that's great, because you may be adamantly opposed to that. But like I said, it's easy fix if you don't really want to feel that kind of little bit of texture on there. Just put a CA finish on and you're golden. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's get fired up here. I'm gonna turn the dust collector back on, and let's turn this one up. See what it looks like. I'm very curious to see how this turns out and if we can eke by with so much clear left. Okay, let's stop and see what we're looking like. I'm gonna doubt that anything's really changed as far as that clear area goes. Stop shaking. Yeah, that's a shame. You can really see because there's no chips at all covering that end. I don't think I'll be making a pen out of this, but it'll be a good example to see. But looking at this, so I can see some brass right there. A couple of little spots where you can kind of see the brass already. So I think that your best bet is to paint your tube, just so it doesn't stick out. Now on something like this, you know, typically I go with like black or white, and in some cases like a chrome, the nickel plated ones. The problem with those is they only come in certain kits. So the good news is it comes in the kits that I like using, the Juniors, the Sierra. I think you can get cigars usually, Bolt Action sometimes, and maybe a couple others. But so those are a little bit tougher to find. But you know, if you're just doing the spray paint, because the other thing is I just buy the powder coated ones from Turner's Warehouse. Again, you're limited a little bit in which kits you can get them for, but you know, you're stuck with, they got like a silver, black, and white in the powder coated ones. And so, you know, black would probably do okay on this. A little bit of black with camo is not really a big deal. White might be okay, but if you're gonna spray paint it, then you know you can just pick. I would maybe pick like the tan, like a tan color, and then it would just really blend in, you know, with the rest of the tan. Or I guess any of those colors really you could use. I think the reason I like the tan idea is because the lighter colors tend to reflect that light back a little bit more. Let's see where we're at. I'm trying to take this down as far as possible, but yeah, you can still see some clear. It's not that bad, but obviously the tube part not being covered kind of ruins everything, you know? I don't know. Still got a little bit to take off on this end. That's pretty close on this end, so. There we go. Okay, I think we're done. Let's sand this guy up. Start with some 240 grit. All right, Mike, thanks for joining the fun and doing that awesome moderation. I appreciate it, buddy. So I'm gonna kind of speed through this a little bit. I'm not that worried. Again, I don't plan to make this into a pen, so. Let's get this thing sanded up and polished, see what it looks like. But we can already tell that, you know, really, I'm better off making a pen out of something, you know, redoing the blank and making a pen out of something else. Or, you know, out of one that doesn't have all those gaps in it. Oh, squirted the alcohol all over the place. I need to re-wax the bed, the lathe bed and the underneath of my banjo. Don't you hate it after a while? It's like, you know, scraping across. Time to get some lubrication going. Okay. Doesn't help when you spray alcohol all over it too. 400 grit. Let's move on to that. And for anybody that's thinking about getting into resin 3D printing, Sunday's video is going to be all the supplies and stuff that you need to get going with it, like the necessities list. So that thing's almost done. Actually, why I was a little bit late getting on the stream today is because I was trying to shoot a picture for the thumbnail for that video, and then I looked up and went, oh, I got a stream. These thumbnails can be tough sometimes. Okay, so we're moving on to the wet sanding again. What wax do I use on my bed? I just use a paste wax. I don't know what brand it is. Any paste wax. I use T9 Bow Shield to protect it, but the reality is we live in Nevada and there's really not enough moisture to cause rust or anything. So we don't have, you know, we heat the shop in the winter, so there's not like temperature fluctuations that lead condensation. So yeah, you don't even really need that too much, but I give it a good coating, you know, like maybe once a year on the T9 Bow Shield, just like let it sit overnight and then, you know, rub it in. And then from there on, I just use wax every once in a while. It's been a while since I waxed this thing. But I haven't really been turning a whole lot the last like year and a half. And that's also why it hasn't gotten any treatment, because I just not even on it enough to notice. I have a feeling that the ice melts blanks might have kind of, I don't know. I don't know what ice or what salt does, but I don't think you really want salt to, you know, you don't really want to be turning salt things a whole lot on your lathe. You know, pin blank here and there is fine, but good idea to kind of protect it a little bit, clean it off, and add a little bit of paste wax or something, maybe even a little bit of like oil first. Just don't want any corrosion or anything like that. So that may have been why it kind of is noticeable right now. Alright, so that green Zona paper is about 750 grit. This gray one's around 1150 or so. And then we'll do a little bit of magic juice. I may not go even all the way up. The nice thing about magic juice is it'll give you a pretty good idea of what that thing's going to look like after just two, maybe one or two applications. It's going to polish it up pretty well, so you don't really need to sit here if I don't intend to finish the blank, you know. And actually make a pen out of it. We'll just give it a couple of goes with the polish just to see, you know, what are we looking at, and then we'll assemble the blue one though for sure. That thing's wicked good. Okay, so magic juice time. So let's stop it. We'll get you guys a shot of this thing. Look at that. It does look pretty cool. I'm not 100% sold on the camo thing. I don't know. If you can get these big chunks, they look pretty good, but on the side, you know, and it is kind of missing some chunks. It's not too bad, you know, really looking, even with the brass showing through, but you're definitely going to want to paint the tube. Quite a bit of tube, because this is the side that was clear. We had that clear on there. So this over here is the bottom, and you can still see the tube in certain areas. So two things: you definitely want to load these things up as much as possible, make it super crazy in the cup, like super thick. And then I'd still even with that, I think you're best off painting your tubes. See if I can get a shot this way. That might have been, I don't know if that went out of focus or not. I was watching the viewfinder. It's cool. You know, I like it. I do think it is a pretty decent camo on these flat parts, actually. Now that I'm kind of looking at it, good camo colors. But I'm very curious to see how these things look, you know, when you load them up fully, like the other one. So let's get some we'll just, like I said, we'll just do a couple of coats of magic juice. Just do like 1 and 2, see how that looks. But I think that's going to be plenty. Oh, got it on my finger. Zoom you guys out a little bit. We'll give it one more. I think that's plenty to get an idea of what this thing's really going to look like. Okay. Oh yeah, I could have turned the dust collector off a while ago. I always forget. Okay. Ooh. You know, pretty good. I think that if you wanted to make a camo blank, this isn't a bad way to go. But you definitely, you know, you definitely want to load it up with the chips when you're casting it. Try and get a... Trying to get an angle where it's not shining back at it, reflecting. It's hard to find that. I got so many overhead lights. No matter which way you hold it, it's going to reflect. It's not bad, you know, but not good enough for me to, you know, put a pen kit together on this one. I'd rather save that kit for a better, you know, a better looking pen or blank. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is just turn you guys onto intro cam for 1 sec while I get the press ready. I got to find a pen kit too. Let's see here. I think I got just a regular Sierra. I think that's a good way to go. Do I have a black one? Well, I got a lot of these Sierra Nomads. They have like the carbon fiber. So let's just go with that one. I think that'll look pretty cool with this. Put a couple things away. Clear the deck. So we are ready. Let me switch to this overhead. Let's see here. Art's here. What's up, man? All right, so let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. I'm going to get like a paper towel just so I'm not setting things in resin, possibly. All right, so Sierras, if you're not familiar with these guys, never made one, they're super simple to put together. You really only have to press the clip part in, but these are pretty cool, these Sierra Nomads. I got these at Turner's Warehouse as usual. But you got like a carbon fiber, you know, component set, which I think is going to look really good with this blue. Pretty sweet. So again, this is the only thing we actually have to press in, and I'm just going to get you just pop, let's see, is there one of those little things covering? Yeah, the ink always has a thing covering it. So I just put this thing together. You just do this beforehand, and then you just press this in by hand once the pen's done. Just make sure this thing works right. Okay. Go get our blank. Press this guy together. So yeah, I'm telling you. Definitely think that's going to be good. Okay. So I don't really think it matters. What I don't love the sides of these. I like the bigger chips a little bit better. So I don't really want to cover that. So I'm going to put the clip on one of these sides here. But I mean, other than that, I don't think it really matters how you put this together. Okay. Easy does it. And then you just press this guy in by hand. There we go. And then you got a twist pen. That looks pretty good. I don't know. There's a lot going on with all carbon fiber and blue and all this stuff, but It might look a little better with just black, possibly, actually, I don't know. But I'm happy with it. It looks pretty good. I think it's something that people would want to talk about and look at. It's definitely a wild color pattern. I love that. Really cool. Yeah, I really like the carbon fiber. So they're called, did I throw that thing away already? Here it is, Sierra Nomad. And I can go get a link to it, and I'll link to this down in the, I didn't know which kit I was gonna end up going with beforehand. I would have done that. So Sierra Nomad. And you can get it at Turner's Warehouse. So let me go, I'll go grab a link to, there was another, what else was I gonna link to? Magic Juice maybe? I'll do that later. I don't, you guys can find it, but I'm gonna go grab the link to the Sierra Nomad for anybody that might want to grab that right now. They have a couple different ones. They got a chrome and a gunmetal. So you can get those at Turner's Warehouse. Let me just copy the link and pop it in the chat window there. So you can grab that. That's an affiliate link. And so if you use that link, you also support the show and it costs you nothing. Chad hooks me up with a little referral bonus when I send folks his way. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, anyway, pretty awesome. I really like these chips. I have more different chips, okay? Obviously the blue ones are pretty killer. That's a good one. Now, one thing that we didn't really look at, let's see here. A couple other little notes. I just want to revisit. And if anybody wants to see these, cast, see what we did, to make these, just watch the replay, live stream replay on my channel. And you can see the whole thing. Plus, I'm also going to be editing down a short version of both of these streams. So if you just want to kind of see that. But we did a couple different things with these when we made them. And again, I was talking about the different sizes. So I kind of showed the camo ones. That's not, where did the other, here we go. So I'm thinking that these are really kind of the way to go. I really like those larger chips. But you can also get 16th inch, and there might even be other sizes depending. So you could mix these together, and I don't know, I think this is just the 1/4 inch chips. And I think the 1/4 inch ones are the standard ones that most people sell. You can find the 16th some places. And then for the camo, like I said, we were kind of looking at these colors, and I don't like, this is not a good camo. I would go with the big chunks for sure on camo. But I also have some orange black. They call this the Harley mix. And so it's got kind of orange, black, white, gray. So I do have some of that also. And I also picked up I found some glow in the dark chips, as well as some fluorescents that we'll probably play with on a future live stream. You guys know it. So I'm just gonna tease you guys with this because you're gonna be like, what? Because that's how I felt about it. So, and it'll be a while. We're not doing this like next week or something. We'll save it for a little later. But look at these, look, crazy blue. So this is the glow in the dark ones. I haven't like tried the glow yet to see how good they work. But look at these crazy vibrant colors, and I think they might even have other ones. So we'll be doing those down the road. I can see, man. I am raring to just stick all three of these things together and make some wicked crazy looking pens. And we'll probably use some of this stuff. I'm excited to try this in like, I gotta be honest, I would really like to make a bowl or something like that, like a larger piece that has this stuff. But again, you gotta watch out because this stuff sinks to the bottom. All right. That was our issue. That's why we had kind of that, those camo blanks. I'm just kind of reiterating. I know most of you guys know we're probably there, but when you cast this, you can end up with like a clear, you know, they all settle down, and whatever's left over is just going to be a clear line of resin. So, you know, you got to kind of think about that. If I was making a bowl blank, like however that works out, however I would make that, like you got to fill it with chips, like the whole thing basically. So it'll be kind of an interesting type of thing. So yeah, we're doing Wednesdays is casting, Saturday is turning, or you know, working on the project. You guys know me. Most of the stuff I do is turning focused, but you know, every once in a while we might do some kind of like a shelf or a, who knows, you know, like a cube or something like that, where I'm not actually, you know, putting it on the lathe. It'll just be working on the blanks. But yeah, so Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then I'm also uploading videos that are shorter form, that are like, you know, cut down, edited versions from the live streams. So if you missed, you know, the live stream and just want to see kind of a recap, I'm trying to get, you know, that about 15-minute video, 15-minute long video, cut down from these things, so you can just kind of get caught up on it. Or if you just want to see a new piece of content, I'm trying to edit them. So it is kind of a little bit different than the live stream. So even if you watch them, you know, go and check out the video, because it's kind of fun. The other thing is, I also, you know, between the two streams, I'm preparing the blanks. So if you want to see that part, that's all. I'm also adding, you know, shot video to the middle. So anyway. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this stuff. If you guys do this, if you guys try this out, I would love to see what you guys make. So make sure to tag me on Instagram or Facebook. And just to let everybody know, because I always say this, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily know how to do that. So on Instagram, to tag somebody, you can either put it in the post itself. There's also a thing on the back end, like right before you actually post it, that you can like add a tag. And then also in the comments, but you just put at ResinWorks Studio, and it'll tag me. It'll give me a notification that you tagged me, and I can go see it. A lot of times people are like, oh, I made this post, you know, go check it out, and it's like you gotta navigate and try and find that, and it can be pretty tough. That's why they do the tagging thing. I get a notice, and it takes me. I click it, and it takes me right to that post, so I can see it. And then on Facebook, you'll do at ResinWorks Studio, and usually there'll be a little drop down box that you can just choose pick my avatar with a little logo, Tinker logo guy, and so you can tag me on either of those, and it, like I said, it notifies me. I really like getting tagged because it sends me a notification on my phone, or even in emails, that I can go and check it out right away. So pretty cool stuff. I hope you guys give it a shot. I know that there's a lot of different applications for this too. Another thing that would be really cool to see is a ring made with these things. That would be pretty sweet. Trying to think, obviously a bottle stopper or something like that, handles. Anything really, I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts, any ideas, projects that you would like to use this for, that you think would be pretty cool? Actually, one other thing that I just thought of. So, and this might actually be pretty cool on the bowl idea, but what I did was try and load up the blank. Like, it's almost the entire blank is made up of these things with some resin holding it together, right? But that requires a lot of these chips. You're gonna have to buy quite a bit. Now, they're not that like super expensive, but you got to pay for this stuff, right? So another way that you could do this, if you were making let's say a shelf, or if you were doing like a tabletop where you're just like coating it, you could just lay this stuff down, sprinkle it, and you don't have to make a super thick blank, and it could create some really cool. I mean, it's basically, this stuff is made for like floor coatings, right? So using it kind of the same way, where you're just putting kind of a thin layer of these things to create a cool pattern, and then coating it. So you could do inlays on like a bowl rim. That would be really cool, I think. And you don't have to use as much. That's kind of the idea here. So anyway, just some thoughts that are running through my head. There's a lot of things you could do depending on what kind of projects you want to make. Yeah, a turn box would be cool. Yeah, the infill ring. That's what I was thinking of. That would be really, really neat. You could even do. I'm just trying to think of different ways. One thing that would be kind of neat, considering this stuff just sinks like a rock, kind of. you could maybe do a bowl where, you know, you put it on the bottom. And I mean, if you're going into it with the game plan of the bottom is going to be this stuff, and then also do like a ring around the rim, an inlay around the rim, you could, you know, it's going to sink to the bottom, so you get a really neat looking base, and then do whatever, you know, on the middle parts, just resin or whatever, and then do a ring on the top, and that would be kind of a neat, like, you know, matching thing. Yeah, the crinkle ornaments. Yeah, I have a few of those left. It might be kind of tough though. The flakes are so big that they may just kind of get hung up on stuff, so I'm not sure if that would be the greatest. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this thing come together. I enjoyed turning it. It was fun. I'm really happy with how this product, this stuff, you know, works. It works pretty good. But again, you really need to add more than you think that you might need. And I think the way that I did it the first time, you know, for a full description and to see how I did this, go and watch the replay in full, the full replay of this, the live one. But, you know, basically you need to calculate, you need to, you know, literally have enough of that material to fill the entire slot up, you know. That's how I calculated the blue ones, and it worked fine. For the camo ones, I was like, well, let's just, you know, do a little bit less and see kind of how that works. It almost seemed like there was not enough resin. I put so many chips in the cup to mix up that I was a little worried there might have been some issues with the blanks in the end. I don't think there was any issues. Just you know, calculate how much the mold is going to hold of the actual chips, and dump that into your cup pretty much, and you should be good to go. One thing that I did also that I think might not be a bad way to go is maybe just go slightly under that initially, and then you can kind of add a little bit of either resin, or you could just add a little bit more of the chips. And I think that that's a good way to kind of, you can fill it up at the top a little bit more at the end, and you'll be okay. Yeah, I did a blank with the, no, I didn't do a blank with just the small blue. I did some mixtures though. Let's see if I can find one. I'm trying to, So, let me put you guys on the overhead. So I'm thinking this one was not a combination. So what I did was I created it like a mix. I added the 16th inch and and dumped some you know, 1/4 inch and 16th inch together. And I think that's what these three are, and they look great. You know, I think that's a good way to go too. But, you know, I don't know if it's that much better than this. This is going to I think what's going to happen is I'm just looking at these lines, and I kind of like the sides a little bit better. You know, there's a little bit more of that kind of infill between the big chunks, but I don't know, but I think you may lose out a little bit. It kind of muddies the big chunks on the flat parts. Like, I think that your 1/4 inch chips are going to give you like those larger kind of chunks that, depending, I mean, this looks fine to me too, but depending on what you really want, if you mix the 16th inch chips in with the 1/4 inch, then I think that it's gonna just be a little bit more homogeneous, you know, where it's not each color chunk it's just not going to be as big of a color chunk kind of thing. But this looks cool. I was really going for this. I really wanted to see how this looked personally. So I think that's why I kind of sound like I'm leaning towards not doing that. But I think the biggest drawback is then you got to buy 16th inch chips and 1/4 inch chips. And is it worth it? I don't know. You know, I'm not sure if that's, I wanted to see what the difference was. Now, I do think it would be interesting to see what the small chips in the blue look like only, you know. The small ones in the camo, just, that's not really my thing. I didn't like that so much. I think that you could go with basically any other color combination and you're going to look better with the small chips. I think it's going to probably look pretty cool. Look a little bit more like a granite, I think, with the smaller chips. So I think you could probably do whatever you want, you know, with the small ones. Now the problem is though, you're going to need a lot more of that. The small ones kind of, the bigger ones kind of take up more space in your mold. So I think they'll also go a little farther and get you a few more blanks. You're going to, you know, the small ones sit so much closer together that you almost possibly need to do like twice as much, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's twice as much, but I think you're going to have to use more that way. So just a couple thoughts in my head. No, I didn't do any just small chips on the blue. I did just the big chips, and I did some mixes. And then for the camo ones, I did some, that was the one that where we tried just small chips and then just 1/4 inch chips. I didn't do a mixture on those. So I'm pretty sure we only had one, or like 2 different cups on each one of those things. So anyway, guys, yeah, I think I should probably get going too. I need to start editing these 2 videos together today. That's my after the stream on Saturday. That's what I go do, is try and get these things edited. I got to be honest, it's pretty hard editing down 4 hours, or, you know, maybe not so much. It's about an hour and a half. The other one was probably, well, I don't know, hour and a half to 2 hours of times 2 of footage. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can just get these edited real quick and knocked out and be done before I leave the shop on Saturday. Yet no, it's more work than I thought. But so I get the bulk of it kind of knocked down today, so it's pretty fun to kind of finish this up and then just start working on those edits. It's kind of cool. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, rest of the day, but rest of your weekend. Hopefully you'll get in the shop and make something really cool. And like I said, if you guys play with this stuff, don't forget to tag me on it. And what else? Oh, the other thing that I wanted to mention is, I'm just going to drop another link. The mystery box subscription thing is live, and it sounds like there's one less, so there's only 4 left, I think, right now. But those are on my website. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is we're having a sale on the team color blanks. I thought baseball season is starting up. Let's do a little bit of a sale. So we're doing 10% off all the team colored blanks on my website till the 5th. I think that's Tuesday. Yeah, I think that's Tuesday. So get over there and grab, you know, if you want any of the team colors, you know, for baseball or not, obviously, but if you need to stock up on anything, now's the time. And then the other thing is, if you want to join the Patreon family, we kind of changed things. We used to do a monthly live hangout where I do a little bit of a demo, kind of the same thing as I do on these streams on the casting part usually. And then we would do Q&A, where if anybody had any questions, you were struggling with something, having issues, or just wanted to know about a topic, patrons could come, and there's, you know, very few people, you know, in the chat compared to these normal ones. So you could get your questions. Like, I'm focused on that. Like, it's just Q&A time. But what I realize is people probably, you know, like, if we're only doing that once a month, like, what happens if you have a question like the day after that stream, the first Friday? You know, it's like you're like Saturday and you're like, oh, now I got a question. I got to wait a month. So I thought, let's switch this up to where we just do a live Q&A every week. So before we do the stream on Wednesdays, so at 2 p.m. Pacific time, patrons just get half an hour of, you know, do you have any questions? And we just get to hang out and talk anyway. So that's one of the big benefits. And there's all kinds of other things, you know, on the different tiers with benefits and rewards levels. So I just wanted to kind of mention that it's a pretty cool thing. Really enjoy the you know, all the cool stuff that we get to do over on Patreon. Oh, and I finally got the name changed, like the link address, URL. So it's patreon.com/resinworksstudio now, but the other one will still work. I got that. Luckily, Patreon helped me out with that. So I'm just going to drop a link to Patreon. All these things are linked down below as well. But just want to mention that. If you want to join the fam, come on out. We'd love to have you out there. So anyway, guys, like I said, have a great rest of the day today. Have fun in the shop. And I will see you guys all on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll do a little bit of casting, and for patrons, I'll see you at 2 on Wednesday. And don't forget on Sunday, did I mention this? On Sunday, the kind of what do you need to get started with resin 3D printing videos going up. So if you're thinking about getting into that stuff, I think this will be a really good one for you guys. So anyway, that's enough of the announcements. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great evening.